Musical note, slow, cinematic, piano begins. Camera pans over Providence Courthouse. Narrator, calm, serious tone. It was Thursday morning, 9:45 a.m., in Providence Municipal Court. The courtroom was unusually crowded. Reporters, photographers, and city officials filled every seat. But this wasn't an ordinary case. That morning, Judge Frank Caprio was about to face one of the most powerful men in Rhode Island, billionaire businessman Alexander Reed. And within minutes, Reed's arrogance would lead to one of the most unforgettable moments in courtroom history. Musical note, music softens. Visual, billionaire entering courtroom in slow motion. Narrator, Alexander Reed wasn't just rich, he was untouchable. Founder of Reed Enterprises, worth over $2.7 billion, employing thousands. He wore a suit worth more than most people's rent, and an attitude to match. That morning, he faced 3 traffic violations: running a red light, speeding in a school zone, and parking in a disabled spot. But for a man who thought rules were for others, he wasn't worried. As Judge Caprio opened the file, Reed checked his phone, whispering to his assistant, showing the world that he had no respect for court. Musical note, tense strings fade in. Judge Caprio, Mr. Reed, you're charged with 3 violations. How you plead? Reed, smirking, not guilty, Your Honor, and please make it quick. My time is expensive. Gasps filled the room. His lawyer froze. Narrator, Reed wasn't used to being told no. But Judge Caprio wasn't used to being disrespected. Musical note, piano deepens, tension builds. Narrator, when asked about the red light, Reed replied proudly, I had a $50 million deal that day. Waiting at a red light isn't part of my schedule. And about speeding in a school zone? Reed laughed. My car is a Lamborghini, Your Honor. It's safer at 75 miles per hour than most cars at 45. The courtroom went silent. Then came the final straw when Reed said, I don't see why I can't park in a disabled spot. There were no disabled people there. Musical note, music stops. Quiet tension. Narrator, slow. Judge Caprio removed his glasses and slowly stood up. Something he rarely did. He looked straight into Reed's eyes. Judge Caprio, Mr. Reed, when you entered this courtroom, did you see the sign above the door? Reed frowned. What sign? It says, everyone is equal before the law. That means billionaire or homeless, powerful or poor. Everyone is treated the same here. The air froze. Reed looked around, his smirk gone. Judge Caprio continued, you claim your taxes pay for this court, but every nurse, every teacher, every firefighter pays too. Their contributions are just as important as yours. For the first time, the billionaire had no words. Musical note, strong, orchestral swell. Narrator, then came the sentence that would make headlines across America. Judge Caprio, your fine is $1,500, but that means nothing to you. So I'm adding something priceless, 100 hours of community service at the Providence Food Bank. The room erupted in whispers. Reed exploded. 100 hours? Do you know how much my time is worth? Judge Caprio calmly replied, yes, Mr. Reed, but in this courtroom, your time is worth the same as everyone else's. And with that, the gavel struck. Case closed. The arrogant billionaire had just been humbled. Musical note, soft, hopeful music begins. Narrator, at first, Reed refused to speak to the media, but when he arrived at the food bank, cameras were waiting. Gone was a designer suit. Instead, jeans, a t-shirt, and a quiet man who suddenly looked human. The first day, he was clumsy and uncomfortable. But week after week, something began to change. He listened. He served meals. He saw faces, not numbers. And somewhere between those 100 hours, the man once called the hungry shark found his humanity. Musical note, emotional crescendo builds. Narrator, by the 6th week, he arrived with 10 employees, all volunteering beside him. By the 9th, he was donating coats and food supplies. And by the 12th, he stood before reporters again. Reed, softly, I thought Judge Caprio's punishment was unfair. Now I realize it was the greatest gift I've ever received. He paused, his voice trembling. I learned that true wealth isn't money. It's making a difference. The video went viral overnight. Billionaire humbled by Judge Caprio. 50 million views in a week. Musical note, peaceful piano outro. Narrator, warm tone. Months later, Alexander Reed met Judge Caprio again, this time to thank him. He donated to the food bank, launched housing for the homeless, and built a sign at his company's entrance. Everyone is equal before the law. And every Saturday, he still serves food quietly without cameras, because sometimes justice doesn't just punish, it transforms. If this story touched your heart too, tell us which city you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of true justice and humanity. Red Heart,